A goblin ship has sunk a dwarf ship. What? That doesn't make sense. How could a ship made of living goblins sink a ship made of solid dwarven steel? Well, it's not that simple, my friend. You see, the goblins had a trick up their sleeves, or should I say fins. They coated the bottom of their ship with fish oil, which made it incredibly slippery. The dwarves, on the other hand, had a different kind of oil on their ship, one that was specifically designed to catch fire when in contact with air. When the goblins rubbed this burning oil onto the dwarven ship, it immediately burst into flames, causing massive damage. And to make things worse, the dwarves were sailing in uncharted waters. There was no one around to help them. All they saw were the goblins celebrating on their ship as the dwarves desperately tried to put out the fire with buckets of seawater. Now, normally, a fire on a ship isn't that big of a deal. Sailors are trained to fight fires, and most ships have some sort of fire suppression system. But these dwarves weren't sailors, and their ship wasn't designed for anything other than carrying cargo. In fact, it was just a big bathtub on water. As the fire spread across the deck, the dwarves started freaking out, running around and panicking. Some tried to jump into the water, but the burning oil had also spilled into the sea, so that wasn't an option. Others started throwing crates into the fire in a desperate attempt to put it out, but it was no use. The fire was out of control. The goblins on the other ship were loving every second of this. They cheered and jeered at the dwarves, making fun of their size and their lack of skill. But as the dwarven ship burned and smoked, one goblin spoke up. He said that they should feel bad for the dwarves because they didn't have anyone to help them. The other goblins thought this was a great idea and started throwing life buoys into the sea. The dwarves were too busy freaking out to notice the life buoys at first, but eventually some of them did. And although they were scared to leave the safety of their sinking ship, they knew they had to do something. One by one, the dwarves jumped into the water and grabbed onto the life buoys. As the last dwarf was pulled out of the water, the ship went down, taking all of their cargo and their dignity with it. The goblins, on the other hand, were exhausted from their hard work. They had never pulled so many dwarves out of the water before, and as they sailed away, they started to wonder if maybe they hadn't been so mean to the dwarves after all. The end.